everyone. This is the Community Unity Now Show, the D Tycoon Show. And hello to Catherine Brown, D Tycoon, the founder of the show. I know you're watching now. Thank you so much. And this is Bill Morton. He's the president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. And I'm the co-host, Trudy Leong, administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Our very, very special guest today is Frank Chapman, who will describe to us about the implementation of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, because this is so new, it's so important, and Frank knows all about it.
Could you say that again?
It's the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. And Frank has helped implement it, helped do all the, well, not do all of it, but you got the people together to advocate for it, and we finally got it. But could you describe for us, Frank, the implementation timeline? Because there's 7 community members, but then how many non-community members, and how are they elected? What is the implementation timeline? Is there anybody running already?
Yeah, there are a number of people in line, but nobody is officially running already. Well, first of all, the ordinance that we had passed is empowering communities for public safety.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name we gave to the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how the city clerk is now describing it. It may be the way that you just described it. But the commission is something that the ordinance created. There's 22 police districts in the city of Chicago, and each police district will elect. There will be elected in each police district three commissioners, and so that means that a total of 66 commissioners will be elected, and out of those 66, the commission will nominate 7 people to function as the citywide commission. Now, those 7 people, that number is based on this: 2 people from the north side, 2 people from the south side, and 2 people from the west side. So the representatives of the different of the geography are going to be even, and then there'll be one person at large, one at large member. So now that way we won't get locked up with no tie votes, you know. And these will be the people responsible for implementing policy and having input as is prescribed in the ordinance, having input into the into the whole mechanism of policing in the city. So that's basically what's going to happen. Now, the timeline that we're on is this: by December we will select, not elect, select a interim commission of 7 people that will run, that will be in there until 2023. The interim commission will go into operation in January. The selection, the deadline on the selection process is going to be December. So the election for the election as I just described it will take place in 2023, February 2023. And we suspect that the commission should be up and rolling by April of 2023. So those are the projected timelines that we're on, you know. And you also had some questions about the powers of the commission, which are laid out in the ordinance itself. And the main function of this committee is to be an oversight body for the police department, which means that any policy concerning policing in this city will have to come before this commission. This commission will have a voice on any policy affecting anything with regard to policing. And also the commission will have the ability to initiate policies that they think should be in place, uh, or eliminate policies which we think are, do not respond to the needs of our communities. The whole point of this commission is to make sure that the policing that takes place in our community is addressing the needs of public safety in our communities. That's the whole point of this ordinance. And the reason why we have an ordinance like this now is because the people of Chicago feel that that has not been the case, particularly the people who live on the south side and the west side. They feel that there have been certain racist practices and whatnot that the police have engaged in, like racial profiling, the way that police are used in schools, particularly schools in predominantly black areas and Mexican and or Latino areas. We these are policies that we want to change because they represent the perpetration of inequities in our communities. So this is going to be a dynamic commission, which is going to be interacting with the police force in terms of its daily activities, and that's the reason why we have it district based, because we want the people to have the ability to go to the commission as it is represented in their district and present what their needs are, and these needs will be addressed by the 7-body commission, which will be for the whole city.
For the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, I know that the commission will have a say in appointing the head of the chief administrator of COPA. However, is there any other intersection point between COPA and the commission besides?
We have the ability to hire and fire whoever is going to be, according to this ordinance, whoever is going to be the chief administrator, and that is very important. And yes, because we will have a voice, and we can ask the COPA to initiate investigations where we feel it is necessary. And out of those investigations can come recommendations for prosecution if necessary. So there'll be constant interaction here.
And so the non-community members of the commission will be the commissioners of the police districts. Then there aren't any other commission members, non-community.
I don't think we're talking about non-community members. Everybody on the commission has got to come out of the community.
Okay.
There's not going to be any such thing as a non-community member on the commission. All commissioners come out of the community.
Then okay, go ahead.
So this election.
There are no police can be on the commission.
So who qualifies? Who's valid to be in a position to run for this elected position, and when and who votes on this election?
Okay, everybody who lives in a police district can vote. Under the Illinois Constitution, Now what was your other question?
Who
qualifications?
The qualifications for candidates, yes.
The qualification is that you live in the community. You have some experience, a background as a in terms of. I'm gonna cut my phone off because it keeps ringing. You have some experience, a background in civil rights work, working with mentally challenged people and things of that sort, and that you also have some background. There's also 2 commissioners on the citywide commissioner that we say must have some experience in terms of, professional experience in terms of the law. But
Two practicing attorneys, you mean, would be on the commission as well.
yeah, at least two.
And what about the interim commissioners? How will they be selected?
Well, they're going to be selected by the city council and the mayor, because we can't have an election now. So that's the only way to go. So we're in the process now of crafting some applications that's going to be done by members of the city council to be able to distribute in the community, or to set up a process whereby people can apply, and those applications will get vetted by the city council.
Okay.
So that would come to a city council chambers vote with the 50 aldermen, and then the last vote by the mayor.
Right. For the interim. That's just for the interim. That's until we can have a citywide election, which will be in 2023.
And then
now we have drawn up some recommendations that we have submitted to the city council as to what should be on these applications. So we're already interacting with the city council and the mayor's office over this interim commission.
when the police commissioners, you said that there will be in every district there will be.
There are no police commissioners. All these commissioners will be people who live in community people.
Do they have any say in nominating the 7 people then, the police at all?
They have the say. That's who nominates them. The body that we elect is the body that does the nomination.
Okay. You mean
we elect 66 commissioners. Mm-hmm. They in turn nominate the citywide commission.
Got it. Mm-hmm. And the applications for to be nominated are going to be vetted by the city council, and then after the city council vets those nominations,
so
then
the interim commission is
let's not get it confused. That's just for the interim. Mm-hmm. The city council will not be involved in any nomination mm-hmm. process mm-hmm. with regard to the general elections. When we have the elections in 2023, it will be ran like elections are ran. Mm-hmm. There'll be slating of candidates. There'll be people running to get elected, and who nominates them is the community.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anybody can step up and say that they want to be a commissioner. Mm-hmm. They don't have to be approved by anybody. Okay. Mm-hmm. And of course, the qualifications are laid down in the ordinance. Like what they will be expecting from people.
Yeah, such as
run.
Yeah, such as having some background in civil rights, mental health, or social work.
Those things. Mm-hmm. And remember this: we're not putting any rigid professional qualifications down here.
Okay.
We also count lived experiences. Mm-hmm. So if people have had lived experiences in these areas, that goes to their qualification.
For this legislation, the empowering communities for public safety, is there anything else that this legislation covers besides, in addition to the commission?
Is there anything it covers besides what now?
That the legislation, the empowering communities for public safety. So does that legislation just cover the commission, or is there something else that legislation covers in addition to the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability?
Well, the legislation sets up the process mm-hmm. for setting up the commission.
I got it. Mm-hmm.
The commission will cover, as I said earlier, will deal with every aspect of policing that goes on in our community. We will have a voice. The community, we will have an elected body of people that will have a voice in whatever goes down in our communities in terms of policing. To say it in very general terms, we will have a voice in saying who polices our communities and how our communities are policed.
If
And we will also have a voice in saying how complaints are dealt with when people complain about abuses or whatever, how those are dealt with. That's 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 how we will interact with COPA and also the police board.
if
Any and everything pertaining to police conduct.
so if there
Any and everything pertaining to police conduct.
so
The
if there
commission the commission has oversight.
if there was if the commission had has a complaint against let's say the superintendent, could the commission initiate firing the superintendent, or does that have to be initiated outside the commission?
We could do a vote of no confidence. We could definitely ask for the superintendent to be fired. We just don't at this point. We don't have the authority to fire. That has to be done by the mayor
But the
and
mayor,
and the city council. But we can do a vote of no confidence, and that has to be taken up by the mayor and the city council.
the mayor has to provide a reason whether to hire or fire the superintendent, a written reason. So if the commission does not agree with the reason, then what happens?
Goes to the city council.
Okay.
Uh, and this is powerful. There's no other oversight board in the country that has that requirement for the mayor, I believe. At least that's what was said in the Washington Post article that was written on the same day that we passed the ordinance, July 21st. And there's no other oversight board or body in the United States that has the powers that this body has in terms of community input. Because what is lacking, Los Angeles is supposed to have the greatest one, right? But what is lacking in Los Angeles and every place else where they have an oversight board? No community input.
So with as far as the community input, when this becomes implemented, will community members be able to file a petition or contact the
Yes,
commission
yes.
with complaints and press on you or request that you represent them to get something done with as far as police
Absolutely.
policy?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then would that be like
Uh,
individual cases, or would that be like a record of like
It
a
can be
series of
individual.
cases?
Yeah, in the individual cases is how these complaints usually arise, But people will also be able to raise issues, policy questions, like why do we have police in schools? Why do we call the police when we're dealing with someone that's mentally challenged?
How often?
Obviously mentally challenged. These are possible, and these questions usually arise out of individual cases, don't they? But we can't stop there. We can't just stop with processing individual complaints. We have to go on and say, how do we stop this? How do we prevent this from happening again? And that's where change in policy comes into play. Somebody has their 13-year-old child murdered who was mentally challenged. This is an actual case, and they were like several yards away from the police with a butter knife. So we don't just want to process that complaint and possibly prosecute that police officer. We also want to initiate a policy where the police are not called into these type of situations. You know, we have social workers, we have people who are professional, who are mental health professionals. That's who we should be contacting,
Do you
not
know,
the police.
is it already said about how many times the commission will meet after it is elected, or is that up to the commission to decide?
I think both. I think both. I don't remember the exact details of that. Uh, Although I've read the legislation, I don't remember the exact details. But let me just say to everybody on that's watching this program, you can go to our website, uh, cwarpr.org, and get all of the specific details from the ordinance itself, which we have on there. But also, we have written for the general public a people's guide, the ECPS, and also a people's guide to the referendum, which we're going to be trying to also get into legislation, legislated. But right now, I'm just talking about ECPS, and you can get all of this information. We outline in the people's guide uh, a lot of your questions that you sent me are answered in the people's guide specifically,
What
including the one you just asked me.
so if the mayor, if there are, it comes time for a new superintendent, and then the commission has some suggestions, like some designees. What happens if the mayor does not agree with any of them? Does it go back to you to find, go back to the commission to find other candidates that might be more agreeable to the mayor?
Well, the mayor can only. That's why we have an elected body. The elected body presents people to the mayor uh, that she can pick from. That's it.
And
There's only one elected body, you know, so she can't go outside of that elected body and pick somebody. It would subvert the whole purpose of the election. We elect commissioners. The commissioners nominate a citywide commission for her to pick from. I mean, a number of people to be on. We nominate a number of people to be on the citywide commission. You know, so she gets to pick from that. Does she get to go outside of that process and pick people? No. That's not according to this law.
there's a mention of restorative justice programs. So will those programs be tailored to what the cases that come before you, or are there already some restorative justice programs that are in the pipeline that other advocates are already working on and hoping for the commission to move forward?
Well, this is how democracy works for us. This comes from the community. This comes from the people who are being policed. You know, we want restorative justice in their hands, not in the hands of professional politicians, not in the hands of somebody. Because we want this restorative justice tailored to the needs of the community. That's just the word, restorative justice. That's a broad concept, and it's always presented in an abstract way, unfortunately. But what does restorative justice mean for somebody like Dorothy Holmes, whose son was shot down in Washington Park? You know, what does restorative justice mean to them? What does restorative justice mean to the family of Laquan McDowell? You know,
I
who was
wanted
shot
to
16 times.
Yes,
So
I
now,
wanted to ask you about that because
so it means that those who commit the crime against the community from where we sit should be punished,
How?
just like anybody else that violates the law.
Because it's
That's our way of looking at restorative justice.
yes.
What we want in our community is justice, and that's what we have not been getting.
Right. So this is a question about just to pick your brain a little bit, because this commission got established in Chicago and nowhere else in the country. So what is it about Chicago that helped Chicago get this commission? Was it the Laquan McDonald case, or was it something else in addition to make Chicago be the city that has the first such commission?
No, it was not. It was not just the Laquan McDonald case. It was a long historical period of past practices and policies by the police department, which blatantly and outrageously violate the rights of U.S. citizens, particularly black and brown U.S. citizens. For example, Chicago is the police torture capital, I think, of the world, but we can easily say the United States. I haven't investigated the whole world yet, but in my opinion, I think it has a horrendous record that's unmatched anywhere. We have hundreds of people in jail that were tortured by John Burge and other members of the police department, and these tortures have been admitted. They have been admitted. We're the only state in the United States that has a commission that deals with torture cases that was created by state legislature. We're the only city in the United States where a reparations bill has been passed to address people who have been victimized by police torture. So Chicago is unique in these terrible aspects, in the level and depth of police abuse and police crimes in this city is mind-boggling. And so that's why we have this movement for police accountability and for community control of the police. That's why we were able to get an ordinance passed that has more teeth in it than any ordinance now currently existing in the country, because we're one of the worst cities in the country, if not the worst, in terms of police crimes and abuses.
You told us before that you've been fighting for justice for 50 years. So what was the turning point was there any turning point that you saw that helped this commission come into place?
Over 50 years, there have been several turning points, but the turning point around this particular movement, because we started the movement for CPAC in 2012, and then GAPA came in later on around 2015 or 2016. I think 2015. So the movement that came together and got ECPS passed is only about 9 years old. The movement around the question of community control of the police in the black community is more than 50 years old. We just have a mark date of 50 years because that's when the Black Panther Party raised it in 1969. But ever since black people have been coming to cities after the Civil War in the South and after Black Reconstruction, ever since we've been migrating into cities, this has been an issue with the black community.
Yes.
Every civil rights movement, the anti-lynching movement in the early 1900s, led by Ida B. Wells, every movement.
Right.
Every
yes.
movement.
Yes, Frank. Yes.
That's raised the question.
Yes. Thank you so much, Frank, for joining us today.
I ran out of time.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Frank Chapman, thank you so much for joining us and giving us so much insight on legislation empowering communities for public safety. And thank you. This is Bill Martin, and this is Trudy Leong. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.